Good morning or afternoon. I'm Vicki Westling here with City Speaks, and we're making our second visit to the Dunkirk Lighthouse with Dave Briska and Mike Vinciguerra, because when we were here before, we didn't have an opportunity to visit the Memorial Garden as much as we wanted to, or the Veterans Museum. So that's what our show of City Speaks will be today. You can watch City Speaks daily, 3 o'clock and 10 o'clock. You can catch it on DunkirkAccess.com. Go to YouTube, like us on Facebook, tweet us, let us know what you think. So City Speaks is here at the Lighthouse. Tell us, Dave, tell us a little bit about what's going on at our Memorial Garden.
Okay, well, this is our Memorial Garden, and normally we have the flags up. We don't have them up today, unfortunately, but we have memorials honoring different local veterans. We have one honoring all the American veterans here from the Charles Tinley Memorial Chapter. We have one that honors Thomas Horan, who was the first Medal of Honor winner from this area. We have one for Cyrus James, who was one of the first people killed at Gettysburg. He was from here. We have one for the oh, for goodness sakes.
Let's walk back that way.
Okay,
Take a look at
sure.
All right, we're here at the Memorial Gardens, and this is the plaque that honors our past, present, and future veterans. So all of our veterans, those who have served, are serving, and will serve in the future. Whenever we see them, we really want to thank them because they are the ones who are sacrificing for us and keeping us safe. So let's take a walk now, Dave. Let's look through the garden, see what we have.
We have 54 flagpoles here, and the flagpoles have people's names on them, local families who have donated the flagpoles to us, so that we are honoring their families and their members of the armed forces. So we also have the memorial here honoring Thomas Horan, who was a Medal of Honor winner from Dunkirk, New York, and during the Civil War. And then we have one for Cyrus James back here, who was enlisted at Dunkirk and was killed July 1st, 1863 at Gettysburg, and was the first Union soldier to succumb to that battle. The cannons that we have right here are on loan. Those are, I think they're Civil War, aren't they, Mike? I believe Civil War cannons. That's me. Okay, so if they're Civil War cannons, they've been here for a while, they've been weathered. So Mike, tell us a little bit about these cannons.
Well, these wars, the state owns these cannons. We have them on loan from them, and we got to maintain them, of course. But those are from the Civil War, and what they have seen in action, I do not know that. All I know.
12 pounders.
I believe you're correct on that. I think the bronze 12-pounders, yeah.
So basically the Memorial Garden really pays tribute to a lot of different people, many people here from Dunkirk, from our area. And of course we have the tank back here. Tell us a little bit about the tank, Mike.
Basically this is, it's really a troop carrier. That's what it is. If you're looking at it, that's how we call it a tank, but it's actually a troop carrier. And that's what they use for carrying troops into action, both in the Second World War and the Korean War, both, I believe that one was used. This one might have been all the way to Vietnam.
It was a 6-person observation tank.
Right.
Carrier, armored personnel carrier.
That's what it's basically. All right, hold on a minute.
Okay, and so it carried 6 people.
Yes, that was a 6-person observation armored personnel carrier that was used during the Vietnam War.
And it's left over from World War II
and Korea.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking through here, I'm seeing signs like this one says, this one is for the Civil War veterans.
Yes.
So we have each of the flagpoles has some sort of some sort of a commemoration. All right, let's go inside to the Veterans Museum. Let's see what they have, and we'll find out what's happening up there and what we. Oh, sure. All right.
We're just looking at our clock here.
Our sundial.
Our sundial, and it tells us it's 10:30. How accurate is it? Got to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's 10:20, so it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
And it's hard to believe that that's how people used to tell time.
Yes.
Right?
Because they didn't have to be accurate to the second like we are today.
Or on.
They just had to be close.
Okay, and here we have a plaque. This is our goal to pay tribute to Dunkirk's famed son has been fulfilled. And let's look at some of these names if I can read them.
Yeah, those are people who helped pay for the monument itself.
Right, and this the Corporal Cyrus James
Yeah.
Memorial Committee.
Yeah, a lot of people actually think he's buried here. Someplace on the internet it says that he's buried here. He is not. I believe he is buried in Gettysburg, if I'm not mistaken. But people somehow on the things, they come here all the time and they say, oh, is this where he's buried? It's like, no, he's not buried here. We just have a memorial honoring him here.
Okay, all right, let's head inside and see what's going on there.
Action.
Okay, so now we're up in the museum for the veterans, and this
Right.
particular room is dedicated to
the Marine Corps.
Marines. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in here.
Yeah, as we walk through this upper part, though, every bedroom, we have 4 of them, will be dedicated to a service. This one here is for the U.S. Marine Corps, through the ages of the Corps. And also, we have pictures of certain people here, and one of them is one of our board members who was a vice president, John Feddersen, who was a real decent guy. He was a giving guy. He was in the Vietnam War, wounded veteran, earned quite a few medals. And he is a gentleman that just U.S. Marine. I can't tell you any more than that. Just a great guy.
Well,
So-
and of course, and he is one of the board members, so he's still
Yes.
very active in the
Right.
museum and with the museum.
Right.
So
And-
now, tell me a little bit though. He was in Vietnam. So, but this goes all the way back to
World War I.
World War I. Okay.
Yeah, so, and if you look over here, go ahead. He's doing a great job here. I love it.
Yeah, so we're looking at all the different things, the different artifacts, the things that we have in this room. We have the uniforms. Now, were
Right.
these uniforms donated, actually worn by some of
Correct.
our
All these
veterans?
uniforms you're looking at in here are uniforms donated to us by families. This isn't nothing we got from the Marine Corps itself. It's family members that wore these uniforms, and they turned around and donated to us. If you look at over here, the different helmets, you'll see that all these helmets go back to World War I and stuff like that. You can see the type of helmets they had at that time. The one over in the corner there's a German helmet.
So you can see how things have changed over time. I mean, look at some of those helmets. I wonder if they even were sufficiently protective.
You wonder.
If they were in war. So some of the things that we have here,
Yeah.
as we see how they have progressed,
Right.
and how we've advanced.
And when you come over around this way here, you'll see some of the tools of war. I'll put it to you that way. We have one of the first belt fed machine guns here, first 30 caliber machine guns. That was designed by Colt.
So now Colt, is that the same Colt that does
Colt gun.
the Colt guns?
Yeah,
Colt,
that's
what are
a-
they, Colt 45s or something?
Yeah, right. So,
And so now if we leave this room, our next room honors which
okay, go ahead.
which arm of service would our
The
next
next room we're going to go in is going to be the Navy room. These are weapons that were used during World War II. They're British Enfields. There's a German Mauser. Back there is a Japanese rifle. Those were the tools that they had used. In this display, one of them is what they had a handheld mortar, which was a Japanese.
The knee mortar's in there on the top shelf.
Is it on the top shelf?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, I can't. With the, yeah.
The reflection is hard to see.
The reflection. That's a handheld mortar that was used. This mortar here was a Japanese mortar, and they always said, well, you put it on your leg like this. No, you put it on the ground. Just the recoil would break your leg. But that's what they had, a handheld mortar and stuff. And also up here in this corner here, he was a legend in his time. He was an enlisted man. He ended up in that picture. He's a full colonel, but he became a lieutenant general during the Korean War.
Now, what is his name?
Paul, what is
Chesty
it?
Puller.
Say again?
Chesty Puller.
Chesty
I
Puller.
had to look at it to get the right pronunciation. That's yeah. He was a legend in his time.
All right, well, let's go into our next room. This is is for the U.S. Army, is that correct?
No, this is the Navy room.
Oh, this is the Navy, okay.
This is the Navy room here, and stuff like that. And actually, John Feddersen, who was on our board there, was a Marine. His dad was in the Navy.
Right over here.
And his picture, Dave had to point it out here. That's John's father, who was a Navy person.
So, and now some of the things, take a look. This is a King Neptune outfit. It was an outfit like this was worn by sailors when crossing the equator for the first time.
Right. That was part of their inauguration, I'll call it, whatever you want to call it. Once they went across the equator, they did their thing, came a shell back, and this is what they wore. Something similar. Everyone was different.
Did you ever do that, Mike?
No, I never had to wear. I didn't have to wear that. No.
So
Did you cross the equator?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't really know. We operated next to it, but I don't know if we crossed it.
Okay.
So now, Mike, this was a part of the initiation process. Is that what it was?
It was an initiation process for becoming a shellback by crossing the equator.
Because before you cross the equator, you are called a pollywog.
Yeah.
And then you do the initiation, you become a shellback. And
That's
you get
right.
a certificate that says you're a member of King Neptune's tribe.
Yeah. Our boat operated close to it. Whether we ever crossed it, I don't really know. So.
And of course, here we have a wave uniform, and that's World War II. So, when did the waves actually? Was it World War II before they actually began, or did we have any in World War I?
I don't have that answer.
That's a good thing to Google, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have that answer to that one.
I don't remember seeing any like World War I or hearing about any World War I waves.
I mean, there was women in the service before World War II. I know that, but but whether they were waves or wax or whatever they were, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but I just think that's very interesting. I mean, that's
and one of these here in this here things is the PT 109, which Kennedy was the skipper of, and that was that boat was built. His boat was built by Elko with an E. Elko built them boats, and Higgins built them boats. And this one here was built by Elko.
okay.
The
By
one that
Alco, Alco wasn't our local Alco.
No, Elko. That Elko's company's name started with an E, not an A.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's what the difference is.
So President Kennedy certainly, he's very famous for being on that boat.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So and now we have. Can you tell me what this is?
Well, this is a mock-up of on old ships. What they would do, they would ring up on the bridge. They would ring up which way you're going to go. Aft. They go a couple of times like this. That signal would go down to the engine room, and the engine room people would say, okay, they want to go full ahead. So they would turn the engines up so they would go full ahead, or they would show them we got to go aft. But this is what they would do. They'd ring it up in the direction they'd want to go. And that was all controlled from the bridge. In the old days, that's how they did it. They didn't have all the communications like we do today, But so that's how they signaled to the engine room guys to go forward, reverse. Say the captain said, wants to go forward at flank speed. He'd ring it up like that. There'd be a thing in the engine room. The guys say, okay, the captain says we have to go flank speed. So they would turn the engines up so they could do flank speed.
Okay.
And flank speed is on a boat is wide open, as fast as it'll go.
So if there's anyone who is a veteran or a family member of a veteran or a grandchild or a great-grandchild or whatever, this is really an interesting museum to come and take a look at all the things that they had, the equipment, their weaponry.
Right.
It was all very different.
Right.
I mean, we look over here at this and we can see some of the things that they used. It's really fascinating to see from where we have come.
Yeah, and you see some of these here stuff here, and also to the Confederate services too. This stuff here came from the Civil War.
Right. And we of course we have a monument or a flagpole out there for the Civil War because our Civil War veterans also are honored
Correct.
here at the museum.
Correct.
All right, let's take a look at the next room now. Where are we going next?
Okay, this is part of the, here you'll probably see if you want take a walk down through here. This is for the Vietnam vets, this area right here. You'll see right down here is a Claymore mine. That was one you wouldn't want to be in front of if it went off. It's a mine that's basically loaded with ball bearings, so when it goes off, just like shot coming at you. And you can see right here, here's some of John Fedderson's stuff and memorials. He was wounded and stuff like that. Like I said, he was a real gentleman, very nice human being, and from Dunkirk, local guy from Dunkirk.
And I see here we have the roll call up yonder. So these are servicemen that
Right.
obviously have. Were they killed during combat or during their time?
That had served, yes.
Right. So during their service
Yeah.
time.
Oh.
So that, it's really some of these names look familiar to me. From their last names from this area.
Oh,
So
yeah.
these are the ones who would be from here.
Right. Those will be gentlemen from this area here.
Okay, and so now we're into the room for the
This is the Army.
Army. All right.
Yep.
And here we have another.
That'll be a WAC uniform rather than a wave uniform.
Right.
That's what the Army people wore. And you'll see a lot of artifacts in here. And some of the artifacts in here, and let me locate the picture. But anyway, well, the Damien family served during World War II, and I believe all of them served, including the sisters. And one of the Damiens became the mayor of the city of Dunkirk.
And as we look through here, we have Colin Powell.
Yep,
We have
Colin
Jim
Powell.
Baker.
And over here, Desert Storm guy, Shortkoff.
Right. Schwarzkopf.
Shortkoff.
Right.
So, and he's dead today too. He died, General Shortkoff. He was in Vietnam, and they ended up being the head guy in Desert Storm.
Right.
Stuff like that. You'll see all kinds of battle flags here.
And of course,
Some
the
more.
Army, they were the ones that had to go in with all the tanks and
Correct.
that sort of
Right,
thing.
right.
So
Yeah.
and as we go through, and now all of this stuff has been donated to the museum. Is that correct?
Everything here has been donated. You'll see that some of them helmets were actually wore during World War II until they changed the helmets there and stuff like that.
And we have gas masks in here, which
Correct.
people don't think about that too often. but
Right. And that was part of the training too. When you went in, like when I went into the service, they made you go through that training of going into a room that you had to put your gas mask on and everything else. And you look at a lot of this stuff here. And
right, now
talk
this is
about
dedicated to Frank Acquavia.
Frank Acquavia, who was part of the Bataan Death March. He was, I believe there was 4 or 5 gentlemen from this area that were on that Bataan Death March. He was the only one that died.
And of course, his name is quite famous here in the city of Dunkirk.
Right. Yeah, we had a local legion to his name. His family still lives in the area, so that he was a real human being, a person.
Yeah.
So you look at it that.
And now here, this is some of the weaponry, some of the things that they.
Yeah, that's all kinds of stuff that was collected. Of course, that one's a mock-up and stuff.
Sure.
And there's a 30 caliber, 30 millimeter shell casing and stuff like that we have had here, and all the medals and stuff like that. Even stuff that back in the corner, you can see there's more stuff there that was donated to us. This flag was donated to us, and I don't know where the person got the flag, but that Nazi flag. And we show everything, you know. We had a British flag, we'd put a British flag up
Sure,
there, you know.
absolutely. It's
You
not
know,
because we're recognizing, we're
Right, so,
supporting it, but
Right.
because it was donated.
Right.
And hopefully it came from a soldier who won a particular battle and
Right.
took the flag.
You got it.
We'd like to think that's the case.
and you look at like these flags here, you know, when veterans die that we're in, they usually give the family a flag like that. I got a couple in my house from veterans that were in the service that I have from my fallen family members. Not that died in battle. They just lived out their lives here. When they died, the Legion and them give the family a flag like that. That's what those flags are from.
Okay, and so now we have one more branch of service that we're going to take a look at, and that's the Air Force.
And if you have any questions in here, you know, at Duino, this is a Duino. That's who that is. You
okay.
took stuff. This was Duino. He has his Bronze Star that he had earned.
And of course,
like
the Duino family certainly is prominent in the area as well.
They're very, very, very nice family. Nice family. Right. And that's some of the stuff that he had picked up during the war, Purple Heart, Bronze Star. So he was wounded.
So,
just so you know, I don't know if people realize that, but if you have a Purple Heart, that means you took a hit.
And so now,
it could be a mine hurt you, it could be you got a bullet shot, you know, you were wounded during combat.
we have, if you're a family member and you have things from your fathers or grandfathers, medals or things, and you wanted to donate them, how would you go about doing that?
Well, you can approach us and donate them to here, you know. One thing is, if they come to the museum, they'll be here forever. That's all I can tell people, you know. Sometimes family members, they have it at home, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know if someone else in the family wants to hold on to it, pass it on. But one thing is, if you donate it to here, and it could be a donation, and if any family member comes back later on in life and says, hey, you know, I'd like to have my dad's or my grandfather's or great-grandfather's stuff, that's yours. Well, all we are doing is holding on to it for you.
So if there are family members out there who have things, this certainly is an opportunity for them to have their relative honored in the
here
museum.
Correctly by coming into this museum. That is correct.
All right, so now we're into the Air Force.
Yeah, now we're into the Air Force room here and honoring different people. Again, Sergeant Lee Cobb is one of the people that we honored here. And we have on display all different kinds of planes that were used during the war. Some of them later in the war, too, because I'm going to step in front of your camera here a minute. You can look at this one here is a B-29. The B-29s were the one that carried the atomic bomb to the Japanese. After the war, we had a B-26 here. This was probably around the Korean War deal. It might have been a little later than that. But we have B-24s, B-17s, and I guess I'm going to have to correct them here because they don't know a 17 from a 24, because that one should be here and that one reversed. And we have an SR-71 who's been a spy plane and stuff like that. And we also have over here B-25s. B-25s were the first planes that Doolittle flew off a carrier and bombed Tokyo. And they had to go on to China and land in China. Some of them made it to China, some of them crashed in Japan, which the Japanese did execute a couple of them. Maybe only one, but one was executed during that. Some were prisoner of war for the rest of the war. Yeah. But so we have different kinds of planes here. One of my favorite planes is that British plane back there in the corner. It's a Mosquito, and that was built out of plywood because materials were so scarce, metals and stuff. The British built that plane out of plywood, and it flew 400 miles an hour. They use it for bombing.
Without falling apart.
Yeah, that big engine on a plywood plane, but it flew.
Right.
So, and up here you'll see an observation plane. These planes were used for artillery observation. In fact, one of my cousins flew one of them planes. His name was Tony Petro, and he flew one of them planes. He was a real nice gentleman. He was the owner of the
Vineyard Restaurant.
Vineyard
Tony
Restaurant.
Petro,
Oh yeah,
yes.
that's it. He flew one of those planes there, an observation plane like
Well,
that.
you know, there really are names that you hear, that you see, that are familiar because of our area. Our area is so rich,
Oh,
you know, with the
unbelievably.
veterans, with the service, and basically this whole area, you know, you grow up to serve. So it's really phenomenal. And when you come here and you see these things and you see the names and, you know, these are friends, these are relatives, these are people that you've heard about or know about, it's really amazing.
I was at the airport one time, and they had a DC-3 or a C-47, and there was a guy come through from Fredonia, I believe it was, and he said, I flew one of them planes during World War II. He says, and we had paratroopers on it, so the paratroopers had to bail out. He said, we flew so low that when they got out, some of their chutes didn't open up, and those paratroopers crashed into the mountain and stuff like that. I've only seen the guy one time in my lifetime, and I never saw him after that. But he was telling the story about him being a pilot on one of them. My uncle was a radio man on one of them during World War II. So.
Well, you know, you think about the service and the people who have died. You know, our veterans, we just cannot thank them enough. We just cannot thank our veterans enough. Now, what is this?
This here was donated to us by Joe Cugino. You know Joe Cugino?
I know the name, another familiar name.
He has the investment there, Riley and Cugino in Dunkirk, Fredonia. And this here is used for fueling. This here, when you had a plane that was fueling another jet or something, this here basket, whatever you want to call it, would hang out the back, and they would come up and put their fueling nozzle into the nose of this thing here. And that's how they fueled the jets when they were on patrol, and they had to stay in the air longer. They'd come up to one of them coming off of a fueling tanker, and they put that nose. That's what that was for.
Huh. It's amazing. Now,
And this one was damaged. That's how come it didn't work or anything, so it was decommissioned. But that's what that was, a fueling nozzle for.
Now, what is this? Is this a real torpedo, or is it?
That's a mock-up of a bomb that was dropped. It's just a mock-up, but that's what some of them looked like, and they were all different sizes. They could be a 500-pounder, they could be 1,000, they could be 2,000-pound bomb. You know, if you look over there at that picture up there, you'll see them dropping them.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, this has been fascinating, and when we come through here, there again, I encourage anyone who has memorabilia, things from their fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers that could be housed in the museum, to honor them, as opposed to just having them in the attic in a box. So, donate them, bring them to the museum. What other kinds of things can the citizens or can the residents of Dunkirk and Fredonia, what can we do to help promote or to help keep this viable?
Well, what we would like to do is, from my standpoint, because of my age and stuff, is I'd like to see younger people take an interest and probably join us so that this here place can be carried on for years beyond. Because I keep on looking at it, like Dave and I and people around it, who's going to do it after us. Right. You know, that's the hard part. Getting people interested and learn about what happened and learn how come they have the freedoms and the things that they can do today because of these people here.
Well, maybe we could reach out.
And every service.
Maybe we could reach out to the school system, get our history teachers, get our principals, our superintendents, get them involved in the process, because history is critical. You know, we really do need to be, we need to be aware of our history, and we need to be able to not forget, and not forget our veterans.
Oh yeah, I mean, people don't see that. You know, they don't see what veterans have done. Some of them were in combat, some of them were other roles to support combat and stuff like that. You know, I mean, I was in the Navy myself. I happened to be on a submarine, and actually it was like an everyday job. I loved every minute of it. But I mean, I never. You know, one guy asked me, "Don't you ever worry about the thing not coming up?" I said, "If I was to worry about it, I wouldn't be here." I know it's coming up.
Well, that's true. Yes.
I mean, you don't go to sea and worry about stuff like that. You know, the good things are going to happen.
Right.
So that's the way I looked at it. So.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for
Yeah.
giving us this tour.
But-
Thank you for honoring our veterans. Thank you for your service.
I can't appreciate how much you people came here to show, so you can take this and show other people what's here, and the goodness of all these people, and the goodness of people in the city of Dunkirk, Fredonia, every place, this area, that contributed to this here stuff. You know?
Well, thank you. And, on behalf of Mayor Rosas, and I really must mention him, because he really is interested in the lighthouse. He has offered his services any way that we can. And, and this is a part of our history here in Dunkirk. And we have our people right here. And when you walk through these rooms, you can feel their presence.
And the mayor, we're friends, very, very good friends. I think he's an honorable gentleman, very honorable gentleman. But I can't thank him for what he's tried to help to do us, with it. But that's all I can say about it,
That's true. Well, thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And thank you all for watching City
Yeah.
Speaks. You can watch City Speaks
So-
7 days a week, 3 and 10.
You got to come back for the third time so we can go through the other building.
A third time. Well, we can do that. I'll come back every day. I love it here.
Yeah,
So-
tell them we got to come back to go through it so I can tell you about submarines.
Well, that's right. Submarines is something that's close and dear to your heart.
I don't know a whole lot about surface ships. I know a little bit about submarines.
Okay, well, we'll have to come back for submarines.
Okay.
Like us on Facebook,
All right.
tweet us, let us know what you think. Call me, 363-6888
Yeah.
at City Hall.
Yeah.
Send me snail mail, 342 Central Avenue, Dunkirk. Send an email, vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com. And thank you for watching City Speaks, and thanks to our camera crew.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, very much so.
And have a great day.
We happen to have a real nice gentleman as a camera guy.
Yes, we do. He's
Yes,
the
we
best.
do.
Thank you.
He's a good man. So.